And the idea is to be understood. I think a lot of people misunderstand that they need to be perfect.
Yes.
But you're not perfect. You're not perfect in 8 years. I mean, I have like high-level students, they studied at the university somewhere and they're here and they're not perfect. It doesn't matter. Am I understood? I think this is the main
That's
clue.
Really Hello and a very warm welcome to How Do You Do It? A podcast for all those who want to be inspired and get more out of life. If you want tools and advice to live a better life, then you've come to the right place. Heike.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Just to let you know, we're recording.
That's great. So let's see. Do I also have a video? Yes, I have a video.
Okay. There you are.
Hello, here I am. So
nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So it's great. So finally we could connect. It's amazing.
I know. It's been a crazy couple of weeks.
I know. So you have a lovely background. So Basel, I like it.
Yeah, my husband took the photo, so I thought it would be a nice setting.
Definitely. It looks lovely.
So thank you so much for joining me. You're a global German expert and a cross-cultural trainer as well. And you worked 10 years in Princeton, but you were born and raised in Germany. Is that right?
That's correct. Exactly. So I'm
cool.
German.
And look, I really wanted you on the show because from the moment I met you, I could see how passionate you are as a teacher and how passionate you are about language learning. And I think, and even, all the cross-cultural stuff. So I was really inspired by that. How did your journey in teaching all begin? Where did it all start?
So actually it was an interesting journey. Because what happened is, so I was working in a very big company, very successful company in Germany, and I was responsible for sales, 6 sales representatives. So my field is in business administration, my study is in business administration. So, and I always had interns from all over the world, and they had a certain level of German. So then they could speak German, but of course, not always to the point that they would know everything. So then they asked me all these questions. And as a native speaker, I could, of course, say, that's correct, that's not correct. But I had no idea what's the grammar about. So anyway, so of course, like I could help them and I really had fun doing this. Yeah, and then life brought me to the US because they said, can you work and teach business German? I said, yeah, okay, that's easy. That's no problem.
Yes.
And then I taught, business German at Lufthansa, for example, and Munich Re, like München Rückversicherung in Princeton, in the US in New Jersey. And then I did my studies for German as a second language and language teaching and some linguistic classes at Princeton. So, and then my journey began. How
cool. That's really, really cool. And it brought you back to Basel, where you now teach German.
Exactly, brought me back to Basel.
So everyone in my circle seems to know you. So what I find really unique about you is that you're very good at marketing yourself online and to the audience that needs you, which is English speakers. And when I was looking for German teachers, your name was always the one that came up first. So this style of marketing, is this something that you took on from being in the States?
So as a German, of course, we are more modest and we cannot say something that we are the best. So in the US, of course, I had to learn this. But yes, I'm the best. I'm the Princeton German teacher. So this time I was Princeton German teacher. So I mean, I took definitely some great marketing tips from there. And I have also some coaches who support me. Yeah, but I'm happy
that's cool.
You know me here. So that's wonderful. And I probably just speaks for my work.
That's great. And so I was going to ask about my personal journey, hoping that maybe someone in a similar situation can also get advice from you. So you know me well, but for those who don't know my language journey, so I came to Basel, knowing obviously another language, which they say is a bit easier when you know another language before, not just English, before learning German. So that really helped me because I remember a really funny class where there was a gentleman in my German class who only spoke English, and as soon as they started with the numbers, so like in English we say 22, but in German it's like 2 on 20, and because that's the way it is in Arabic, I was like, oh, okay. But this man, I remember this because he had a very dramatic exit from the class, because he was an American man, and he just tipped the table and the book, and he's like, I'm out as soon as the numbers were jumped. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him, because I think a lot of us were internalizing that kind of emotion. So I went up to about A2.1, and then life started, and I started working in an institution where I could completely rely on learning English. And it wasn't until the day to day that I realized that, German is a massive asset living in Switzerland and bordering Germany, etc. So for someone like me who reached a point past, the really difficult stage, but then it kind of, I don't know, stagnates the journey. What kind of advice? Because I find that's what you reach. You get really excited. I'm learning German. You get Duolingo, you go to classes, but then life happens and you just stop where you are. How do you go past that point? What have your students done?
Okay, so I think this is a very interesting thing, what you say, and I think this is just normal. So first, just say, okay, that's normal. This is what life brings, right? So this is the journey. So, but I would like to actually compare it with something. So, and I'm not sure if you spoke about this before, but I think it's a little bit like a waffle maker. So you buy a waffle maker, and then you have waffle every day, sometimes for lunch, sometimes for dinner. And then maybe the kids say, okay, I want to have it for breakfast too. Okay, so then you use it a lot. And then sometimes maybe once a month, and then it's in the kitchen for like 6 months and it's not even used. So and I think with language it's a little bit similar. You're super excited, you do your homework and you go to class and you really like it and you are excited about it, but then it drops. And I think the secret is that you find an aim. Okay, why do I need to learn it? So and a lot of people say, okay, because it's easier for my children. It's easier to communicate with the neighbors. I need it for grocery shopping. So it works usually, but Basel, this is a little bit a different story, because like a lot of people speak English, good English. Here, the expat community is very high. I think it's like 35%. So the locals are used to speak another language. And then, so you pay an expensive German class, you don't get to use it. And then the other people actually practice with you the English for free. So now, so how do you get over this point? How do you reach it? So what I think is that it's good if you have an easy approach. So what I teach of course grammar, but I teach an easy approach for grammar. So it means that you are you can easily speak and you are easily understood. So this being said, I think we all need just to be persistent and try our foreign language with the other people. But I can understand if people have, like I usually say, like mixed salad, like the sentence is not even, you don't even know what they want, then of course everyone is impatient. But if you follow a certain rule, I think that's a good way, and just be persistent in doing this. And the other thing is, now there's another pressure coming. So I said it's good to have a goal. So, but there's another pressure coming, because now Switzerland actually decided that to keep the work visa, you need to have a certain level of German. And it's really low. It's really basic. But honestly, not because, so it's A2.
Okay.
And it means you can easily or ask something in the restaurant, order something, or make an appointment at a doctor, like basic conversations. And the idea is to be understood. I think a lot of people misunderstand that they need to be perfect. Yes. But you're not perfect. You're not perfect in 8 years. I mean, I have like high-level students, they studied at the university somewhere and they're here and they are not perfect. It doesn't matter. Am I understood? I think this is the main
That's
clue.
Really good. And I think sometimes it's putting our ego aside and just saying, if they can understand me, it's good. And I think sometimes when you get those looks and people just switch to English and you realize how awful your German is. For me, at first I used to be very offended and be like, but I'm trying and this is what I know. But now I just push through. So when they speak in English, I continue with my broken German, because otherwise I'll never get to practice, especially somewhere like Basel.
Exactly.
And sometimes I think it's good to be honest with them and say, I'm really sorry my German is bad, but I need to practice. And most people are very nice. So when they understand. Do you have any other tips, or what have your like top students told you works?
Okay, so I think the top trick is actually a certain teaching method what I'm doing, because it's not about using all the different verbs. So like you have some basic sentence ready and you use it and then you adjust it to it. So I think this is the idea really. And so what I'm using is, it's like a helping hand. And this is the word order in German. It means also I love you in sign language.
Ah,
Or
okay,
let's
cool.
say, I love German. Anyway,
Okay.
so, and then the two fingers are standing for the verb. So it means this, it's never changing. And in between you fill the gaps. And that's why, like a
that
native
way or that way?
speaker.
Hold on.
So the ich usually is the thumb. And then you would say, let's make an example. Yes, exactly. Ich möchte Kaffee trinken.
Oh, okay. So then the modal verb is here and the
The
other
modal
verb
verb
is
here.
there.
Is at the end, exactly.
Okay.
So, and that's why you learn your modal verbs, but the infinitive is always the same.
Infinitive. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Works also for past, works for other things. So that's
I like
that's a
that.
good
I'm
thing.
going to do that from now on. That's really cool. I love your little tips. I love the way that you use like even your waffle maker metaphors. You speak to my type of brain with the storytelling. I love it. I was going to say as well, this is something that I have wanted to ask you for a long time. Everywhere I go, people tell me the High German way, the correct High German way is different. I want to know, is it ich mochte or ich möchte? What is the correct High German way? Can we settle this argument?
We can settle this argument. Okay, so they're in phonetics, so it's very interesting pronunciation. So they say in German there are two CH sounds. Okay, so but then I think this already makes your life complicated, because what you said is correct, but it's not High German, so they're different dialects, right?
Oh, yes.
So, and this is the whole idea. So you understood, that's fine. So you're also Arabic speaker, I know. So that's good because you have the sound. So how do I teach the sound? I just teach one sound because it works. And I say the CH is the cat sound. So then people say cat starts with a K. I said, yeah, the cat sound is like, so you really have this sound what the cat makes.
Yeah.
Back. So, and this is it. So use it. Don't think that there are two or something, and then that's it. So you use it for everything. So then it's ich möchte. So maybe you want to repeat it.
Ich möchte.
Perfect.
Correct?
That's it.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So that's the High German way.
That's the High German way. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So now I know, because everybody says something different, and every kind of area, region that you go to, it's different. But they can understand if it's a place where they say ish, right? Or
exactly.
They can understand. This is the High German way. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay,
and I would stick with the High German way. So this is just what it is. But here in Switzerland, of course, you hear different accents and different sounds. And then there's Swiss German, and then we have the German border in Freiburg. They have also different accent and. Exactly.
That's true. There's so many different areas where they speak different dialects, which is really, I think this is frustrating for somebody who's learning High German. When you walk outside, it's Swiss German. And then when you go to the bordering areas, it's another dialect. So, so what's your advice? Just stick to the High German and don't worry about it. Yeah.
Stick to the High German. And I wish actually that every newcomer to Basel learns German pronunciation, because it's very easy, and every letter has one sound, kind of, and it's easy to pronounce. So it's a phonetic language. And I think people underestimate it because they think, oh, in English, you have to learn so many words. And that's not the case. So I think if you get a chance, get a pronunciation class, get a pronunciation training, and then after 2 hours, you are able to read anything. You're not able to be understood, but you're not able to speak, to form sentences, but you can be able to understand when you read something.
And so at the moment, I have Duolingo on my phone. I'm fortunate to work somewhere where they offer classes after work. So I'm going to attend those classes. What other things do you recommend besides going to classes, trying to maybe learn on Duolingo, getting a coach like you? So if someone out there, what do you recommend is the best kind of way or method to, like we said, go past the excitement of the waffle maker? And when you're in that lull, what's the best way to keep going? Books, apps.
Okay. So this is a good question. And I think there's not a good answer for this because
Okay.
the idea is I'm going to recommend your restaurant. And I said, oh, this is lovely there and I really like it and the food is delicious. So you go there and you said, oh, I really don't like it. I think it's really dark. Oh, I don't know. I think this is not my type of food. So this is the thing. So I think it's a little bit personal, but there are good things and not so good things. So I like Duolingo, but I think also that it's good sometimes to have an explanation to the Duolingo. So what I would say to everyone who's listening, just take a screenshot. If you don't understand it, bring it to your teacher. I think that's already a good thing. So then with the language courses, so people say, yeah, is it better to attend a course? Do I have a coach? Should I do it rather online? Should I do it in person? And I think like it's just a personal really thing. So some people like the teacher, some people don't like the teacher. I think some people have rather learn in a group. Some people just have like private things. So I think this is a really interesting question. Try it out, find it out what's good for you. Some people watch movies with subtitles. So I think this is a good way. So I like a German show. It's called Tatort. It's kind of a crime story. It has subtitles, but for German speakers. This is also nice because
what's the show called?
It's Tatort. So it's Sunday night on, but you can also watch it in a Mediathek. So it's Tatort.
And so Ort is place, right?
Yes, and Tat, it means it's like it's like something happened.
Okay.
But it's it's a crime scene. But
and when you say with subtitles, do you mean English or German subtitles?
So it's for German, it's German subtitles. So it's usually for people who have hearing problems. But I actually like this because then it's a repetition. And let's say the commissar is in red and the murder is in blue or something. So it's like an interesting concept. I think it's nice to see. And the story is like, yeah, it's a little twist, but I think it's also fun to watch. And it's not so bad. Like it's okay to watch it.
Okay. And that's the question I was going to ask you. Like I often speak to German speakers and they say to me, I learn English a lot of it like by watching films and watching TV shows. I tried to do this with German, but not being, sorry, something keeps beeping, but because I'm not a native speaker, I really struggled with how fast they speak. And I was going to ask you, is the best way to approach this with German subtitles and just keep going, or with listen in German and have English subtitles? This is something I'm battling with. What do you think?
Good question. So I actually think it depends on the show first, because some shows are translated and I think then that doesn't work, right? Because when people say, okay, in which language do you read books? I said, I read it actually, if possible, in the like title of the author. So if it's an English author, I'm going to read it in English. If it's German, I'm reading it German. So this is the thing. So I would first pick a movie which is in German. So this already like, it's a different focus, right? I would not on American shows with German subtitles or English subtitles. I think this doesn't make sense, right?
Yes.
And this is, I think, a little bit difficult. So I'm not sure if this is the right way, but if people really like to watch movies, maybe this is a good way, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's nicer to have something shorter to watch. If
That's
this is something
idea, like
which...
TV shows. I watched this show on I think it's a BBC. It's like Deutsch for Ausländer. And it was like an A1 beginner one, but it was so old but it was slow and repetitive. And it was really painful for my husband to watch because it was
because
so
he speaks English, so he speaks German so well, or he's like not into...
No, because the storyline and it's so obvious it's for language learning, like that they repeat things over and over. And even we showed it to his colleague who's German at work, and she was like, this is really like so old, it's not even what Germany is like today. So it's really hard to find something modern and cool to watch. So that if you have any recommendations, I'm going to try Tatort and see how that goes, because sometimes you want something really engaging so that when you're learning it's fun, but when you're a beginner there's not much out there that's really that engaging.
That's true, yes. So, and it's like engaging. So I would like to say something which I think is interesting. So maybe you wonder about my background, and I didn't even realize that it's still on Zoom. But anyway, so I'm running a new online course. It's called Dive into German. So this is why we have the water background still there. But anyway, so I think it doesn't harm. So, and so in this Dive into German program, it's a recorded program with some live sessions, some coaching sessions.
Cool.
And also when you join the program, so you can actually watch it to your convenience and do the homework to your convenience. But also I pair you up with a learning buddy with your level. And
That's
honestly,
great.
I think this was the biggest success in this whole program, because people say, oh my goodness, finally I can talk to someone and I'm not afraid and I'm not ashamed. And usually it works out because people can communicate and practice. Then it's not like talking to the teacher. Okay, the teacher's up there and I'm up there. And so it's always the same conversation. So and then, so they get to practice. So maybe this is also a good approach. So don't look out for German native speakers or Swiss German native speakers. It doesn't matter. So maybe just look out for a friend who's also learning German and maybe is in a similar level than you, and just say, okay, today we have a coffee and we have 30 minutes of German. And then maybe you try to say what you did on the weekends or whatever. And then the other 30 minutes or 1 hour, so you're in English and you talk whatever you want. So that's also a good idea.
So cool. I like that. That's a really good idea. And I like the social element, because you're right, it is more engaging. So Heike, if people want to learn more about your courses and you, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so I actually have a lot of channels, because I think this is what you need to do, because people also have a lot of channels. So definitely they can find me on Instagram, international German teacher. So there's international_German_teacher. So now I have it.
What's your website? I think if they go to your website first, they can find these things, right?
Perfect. Yes. Also international German teacher. And the name is funny because I was Princeton German teacher at one time. So then I just transferred to international German teacher, because I thought, okay, I'm not sure, Basel German teacher, maybe not. So wherever
international German teacher. Is it internationalgermanteacher.com?
It's international German teacher.wordpress.com.
Excellent. Okay, so then people can find you there, and I do like your tips. So I follow you on Instagram, and I often see in your stories really good tips, sometimes homophones, homonyms, or like you call them false friends of English.
Exactly,
like if will is not I will, it's I want. So that was really, those little tips helped me following you on social media, and I recommend, if you are enjoying our conversation, then please check out Heike on social media. She has great tips and she's very active on social media, which is great because I love asking you questions and you're very helpful, and your courses, I'm sure, are terrific, because I've had one-on-one sessions with you and I learn a lot. So thank you so much. Do you have anything to add or any words of motivation before we do our fast 5 questions?
So first of all, I want to thank you that you have me on the show, because it's always a pleasure to like have coffee with you, work with you, or like have a podcast with you, so whatever it like comes up. So I think this is lovely. So yeah, motivation. I think just dive in, like just do it and don't think about it. I think this is the best way of learning. And I think sometimes we just overthink things, and this makes it complicated, because like in German, we have 16 endings for the articles. Like, okay, who can possibly manage this? No one. Okay, just forget about the articles, use one and be done. So that's my recommendation for everyone. Makes life easier. You understood. That's what it is.
Yeah. And you just reminded me, this is actually my second interview with you, because when I was working as a journalist for the local Youre, but the Swiss branch, I interviewed you and you gave some really good tips, to the point that I received emails of people thanking me for interviewing Heike, and it really motivated them. So anyone out there, you can Google that conversation. It's an article in the local newspaper, the European local, the English edition, and you can see some great tips there. And I think Heike, you have it on your website as well, so people can
I have it.
Can see it there. All right, let's have some fun, Heike. I have some questions for you. So Heike, this is fast 5. Pineapple on pizza?
No, clear no.
To learn German or English?
To learn German, of course, with me.
Brilliant. Love it. Kindle or book?
Book.
Duolingo or Babbel?
Duolingo.
Wearing heels or flats?
I think flats.
Okay, that was fast 5. Thank you very much, Heike. I always have fun interviewing you, and really, really love your approach to teaching German. I love that you always make it fun. I love that you always get to know each student. And like you said, you don't treat them like they're all going into the same restaurant. You tailor your approach. Some students might want to go to more of a cafe and others might want to go to more of a high-end, more difficult approach, and because they like to challenge themselves. And I love that you see that. I think as a teacher, that really speaks to my heart as well. You love to differentiate. Always fun chatting with you. Thank you for your time on a Sunday morning. I appreciate your flexibility to just come online and have a chat with me. You're amazing. Always fun to chat with you. And I really recommend, if you are learning German and you need a coach, I recommend Heike. If you want to just have her as a buddy to follow online with social media, check out her website, internationalgermanteacher.wordpress.com. That's right.
Okay.
I got it.
Thank you so much. Vielen Dank.
Thank you. Vielen Dank. Schönen Tag.
Ja, schönen Tag. Okay, auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Bis bald.
Bis bald. Tschüss.
Tschüss. Thank you for listening to my chat with Heike Reinhart. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I will leave listeners and myself with a piece of advice to follow. So after listening to Heike, I think the best tip or piece of advice she offered was to just practice German and not overthink it. If you are a fellow language learner, let's do this together. Let's just practice every day. I've started using my Duolingo app again. I am excited to start German lessons again through my work, and I am just going to keep practicing. I reached a point where I just stopped. I was really excited initially. As Heike explained, like getting a new waffle maker, I was over the moon with practicing German. I thought, wow, what an exciting journey. And then I reached a point where I completely got bored and didn't want to do it anymore. And it was so easy here in Basel with such an international community to just rely on English. But the truth is, I love learning languages and I need to just get back into the right headspace. Thank you, Heike, for your advice. I'm going to keep going and I can't wait to reach a new level of German and have a good, proper conversation with a native German speaker. I know there's a while to go and I will never have a native accent, but I am really excited about learning German and hopefully being able to connect with locals in a different way. If you are a language learner, if you're learning any language, I encourage you to get back into it and wish you all the best on your language learning journey. Thanks again for listening to the podcast, and I hope you have an awesome week. And remember, guys, stay curious.
That's a good lesson, especially for kids.
You think so, Oliver?
Yeah, I do.
Later.